Coming up next, right here on the Emerson channel, we've got a brand new episode of Common Agenda.
I want to finish this with a joke, but I think we're going to get cut off, so.
Oh. Are we still rolling?
Are we rolling?
Yeah? No?
Welcome to the 75th Annual Hunger Things. I'm your host, Chantelle Bacigalupo, and this is sure to be the best episode of Common Agenda yet. Why? Well, you'll have to stick around and find out. I don't want to spoil anything, but we're going to have a special guest star with us, thanks to Alumni Connections. He's a pretty devout Christian, the kind you won't have to bail out of jail, and he played Batman, if you catch my drift. Anyway, that's for later. Now the news. Okay, so I know at Emerson we all love being individuals and we all want to leave our mark on this world, but this Emerson alumni has us all beat. Emerson alum Eva Rupert has a set of survival skills I don't think anyone else has, with the exception of Jamie Sanders. Yesterday on the Discovery Channel, Eva's episode of Naked and Afraid aired. Naked and Afraid is a reality show that entails participants being dropped into the wilderness without clothes or food. Recently, Eva was one of the contestants. She was dropped into the wilderness of Madagascar with no clothes or food for 21 days. Talk about survival of the fittest. For an exclusive interview with Eva, just check out the Emerson College website. Way to go, Eva. Emerson alumni are just all over the news this week. WLP grad Olin Steinhauer recently had his third book in a 3-volume series reviewed by the New York Times. The book was given positive reviews by well-known New York Times critic Janet Maslin. The book is part of the Milo Weaver trilogy that tells the story of Milo's involvement in the Tourists, a top-secret CIA spy unit. I think his next book trilogy should be about the amazing Common Agenda reporter who saved the world from aliens. No, ninjas. No, aliens. Saved the world from aliens. Now, I know we all like to joke about Emerson students' lack of coordination when it comes to sports, and let's be honest, if someone were to throw something at me right now, there's probably a 100% chance it would hit me in the face and I would fall over and then it would be a YouTube sensation. Anyway, not all Emerson students lack coordination. In fact, this past weekend, the Emerson softball team scored 3 home runs during their home opening game against Newberry. They went on to win the game 8-0, making them 7-4 this year. Good job, team, and if you need me, I'll be sitting on the sidelines as far away from the ball as possible, just like my mama taught me. This week, Associate Professor of the Marketing Communications Department, Kristen Lieb, was interviewed by New England Cable News in regards to the Babies R Us and their new marketing ploy. This past week, Babies R Us launched their new advertisement featuring Kim and Kourtney Kardashian. The campaign raised some eyebrows among mothers. In their interview, Lieb stated that the company is probably trying to draw in younger mothers. Yes, because every mother relates to the Kardashians. Now, don't worry, you weren't seeing things this weekend if you happen to walk past 3 doctors, 2 Batmans, and the occasional airbender. This weekend was Anime Boston, the Northeast's biggest anime convention that drew in fans from around the country. The 3-day event was housed at the Heinz Convention Center and featured panels, concerts, and a ton of cosplay. The event drew in hundreds of anime fans and took over downtown Boston. And of course, Emerson students were there showing their dedication to the shows they'll love. Next year, I'm thinking of creating my own character, the Common Agenda host. I think it'd be a huge hit. Now, let's change things up a little, shall we? What have you got for us today, Hunter?
Hey guys, today we're here with Matthew Chauby, who's working on the Freshman Narrative for Frames Per Second. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the Freshman Narrative?
The Freshman Narrative is a production that Frames Per Second puts on that gets all freshmen on the set in a full crew production. And it's just to give people experience if they haven't had it yet, and just get us to work together to create a piece of film.
So what is your exact position on the crew?
I'm the director of the production, and the script was written by Jordan Wang, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yes,
it's very good.
I think we all are. Why don't you tell us about what the story's going to be like?
Yeah, sure. It's about a businessman who regrets not pursuing his passion for art, and instead of going to school for business or whatnot, and he has material things and a good job, but he's just not really happy with it. So it just follows his life, sort of.
And I understand that it has a bunch of different perspectives of his life, and it goes to flashbacks and everything. Am I right?
Yeah, there's a dream sequence, his reality, a childhood sequence. So there's a lot of different timelines going around. It's very ambitious.
Yeah, it sounds very challenging for somebody to film. Do you have any ideas of how you're going to do this?
Yeah, we have a couple ideas. I'm working with my director of photography, Alex Favre, and the editor. We just want to give each timeline its own distinct style to differentiate and make it easier for the viewer to understand what's going on.
Well, can you give us any hints of what these styles are going to be?
Yeah, for instance, there's a dream sequence, which I want to be a little bit disorienting for the viewer. So we're probably going to do really exaggerated colors and really choppy editing just to give it that disoriented feel. That's just one idea I have.
Very Inception of you. And I understand you're doing casting today, am I correct?
Yeah, we're casting on today, Tuesday, and Thursday, actually.
So are you excited to get casting? Are you getting Emerson students to do it? Are you getting outside sources?
Yeah, I mean, I'd really like to hire some Emerson students and get them on the set, but we are going outside of Emerson, and we've invited actors from the New England area, so we're hoping for a really good turnout.
Yeah, I think we all are. And when are you guys planning on filming this?
April 11th, 12th, and 13th. It's a weekend, so we hope to get all the coverage we need and get some good footage.
Perfect. Well, we're all looking forward to it. And those who cannot remember the past are doomed to repeat it. That's a quote from George Santayana. With that in mind, let's check in with Ian Sutherland for our alumni segment, After Emerson.
What's going on, Emerson College? Today, my crew and I were lucky enough to talk to one Rebecca Eisenhart, who, unlike me, was an honor student in her time here at Emerson. Rebecca works with a nonprofit called the Posse Foundation, which helps lower-income students gain access to higher education, like Emerson College. Rebecca is working to fill empty classrooms like this one with deserving students. So thank you for joining us, Rebecca. Rebecca is a recent graduate. She graduated in December, actually, and is now working at the Posse Foundation, a nonprofit.
That's right.
So thank you for being with us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
What did you study at Emerson College, and how did that influence your current career field?
So I was a journalism major at Emerson, which I really enjoyed. And I think being a journalism major can send you a lot of different directions, but for me, it made me really realize that what I wanted to do was just have an impact in some way. I was lucky enough to be an honors scholar here at Emerson. I was in the honors program. So my freshman year, the topic that I decided to explore was inequality within education. And I learned quite a lot about the ways that different parts of our education system kind of create varied opportunities for people. And one of those things was the SAT, which really highly correlates to family income, family education level. And that's something that the Posse Foundation really focuses on, is trying to free very talented students from being held back by that kind of test. Based on the season, it depends what we'll be doing at that given time. So we do our dynamic assessment process starting in September, which is what I was just talking about. So we do the 3 steps. We get nominations from local public high schools, we get nominations from community organizations, and scholars come to us and we meet them and we evaluate them in a bunch of different ways, everything from interviews to having them get together in a group and play with a bunch of Legos, just so we can see how they work together.
If you had any advice for Emerson students, what advice would you give to them, looking back?
I would say to Emerson students to prepare as hard as you can for whatever it is you think you're called to do, but also to really trust yourself and trust your process and not be upset if you graduate and you don't land exactly what you're looking for.
So thank you, Rebecca, for joining us today and giving us all some insight on how you don't always have to land exactly in your field of study to have a successful career path. So thanks, Rebecca, and I'm Ian Sutherland with After Emerson for Common Agenda. Thank you.
Sup, bros? I'm your correspondent, Claire Kerr, here to bring you up to date on the upcoming events from around Emerson College campus. Let's do this. Today kicks off Emerald Empowerment Week, sponsored by Kappa Gamma Chi. The week is dedicated to raising awareness about domestic violence in relationships. Tonight, the main event will be a talk with spoken word poet Caroline Rothstein. Like most of the events we talk about, it will be taking place in the Bright Family Screening Room at 7 p.m. And tomorrow, be sure to check out Pact 5, a documentary screening in the Beard Room. Now, I'm not a huge fan of spoilers, so I'll let our Wednesday crew talk about some of the other events this week. We like to keep you waiting. Wait, was I supposed to say wink, or was I actually supposed to wink? Either way, I think I screwed that up. Tonight at 6 p.m. in the Cultural Center, the Office of Multicultural Student Affairs and GLBTQ Resources will be sponsoring To the Survivors, an event with the author of the new book, To the Survivors. Clever event naming there. Robert Utero and survivors from the book will be coming to campus to talk about stories of sexual assault. Light refreshments will be served, and anyone who wants to, can pick up a copy of the book for $10 after the workshop. Are you ready for a pun? Because the cabaret is turning into a cabaret. Tomorrow night from 9 to 11, the cabaret will be taken over by none other than Biza, Emerson's premier DJ experience. Now I know what you're thinking. Is that his real name? No, it's not. It's Julian Baiza Hockmuth. That was challenging. Now let's get to the ground rules. There's a 250-person limit, Emerson students only, and no food or drink. Other than that, it's pretty much a free-for-all. I, for one, will be dancing the cha-cha slide to every song, regardless of its relevance to the music or this decade. Know what's a lot like raves? Book launches. Tomorrow at 7 p.m., Daniel Beatty is returning to the Arts Emerson program to perform Emergency in honor of his latest book release, Transforming Pain into Power. After the performance, there will be a talkback session with Daniel, and you can buy copies of the book outside the theater. Don't make the same mistake that I did and buy more than one copy, because I found out that doing that is really redundant, considering they're all the same on the inside, I think. Now for this week's update on the Bright Family Screening Room. Wait, we already did one. Now for this week's other update on the Bright Family Screening Room. This Wednesday at 7 o'clock, check out It's All True, a 2.5-hour showcase of student documentary shorts by current undergraduate and graduate students. Two-time Oscar-winning director Barbara Kopel will be in the audience, so be sure to find a seat near her. Or I guess more likely by me, because I'm going to beat you to it. For all the students who will be screening their films and who want someone who knows what they're talking about to give them an honest critique, I can't think of anyone better than Kopel. Maybe Hunter Reis. What's the deal with stages? It's like 1 minute there's a spotlight, the next there isn't. Try to forget I said that by enjoying our segment, Stage Spotlight, with Mariah Terry.
I am Mariah Terry for this week's Stage Spotlight. Now I'm going to let you in on a little secret. My favorite movie just happens to be Pitch Perfect. So you can imagine my excitement when I found out that this week I was going to be interviewing the president of an a cappella group. Now stay tuned to see what we have in store. Now I am here with Ari Conti, the president of Acapellics Anonymous. Now can you explain to those who don't know what exactly an a cappella group is?
Yes. An a cappella group is a group of singers who sing without instruments. We make up all the parts with just our voices.
Now, how much work goes into forming an a cappella group? I mean, it must be very hard to sing without an instrument behind you.
Yeah, a lot of work goes into it. We rehearse probably 6 to 7 hours a week, depending on what we have coming up. And we put a lot of time into who we're letting into the group and our auditions and song selection and things like that.
I heard a little birdie tell me you guys have a giant show coming up.
We do. We have a Toast Emerson's Voice Acapalooza 2014 coming up on March 29th.
And what exactly is Acapalooza for all of those who don't know?
Acapalooza was started about 5 years ago by Acapellics Anonymous. We would bring in outside groups from around the Boston area to kind of share the spirit of acapella. And we decided, because we have 4 groups on campus, that we would keep it within Emerson, make it a fundraiser for student scholarships, and just celebrate our school.
And also, I heard that the very next day you guys have a huge competition to go to. Can you explain that for us?
We do. We are going to the semis of the International Competition of College Acapella, and we just recently won the quarterfinals, which was at Northeastern with 6 other groups. So it was very exciting. It was the first time that Emerson was in the competition.
Wow, so the first time and you guys won. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now that is all we have for this week's Stage Spotlight, but come back next week to see what we have in store.
All right, Agenders, that's about all we have for today. I'm your host, Chantelle Bacigalupo, signing off for another episode of Common Agenda. See ya!